Mustang that's like just straight piped bust past me in the left-hand lane, and suddenly I'm hit by this wall of sound, and I'm like, oh goddamn, that's gonna happen to you. There is no prize at the end of a twisty road. Texas exit, whee! Don't do what I just did. That's a no-no. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Yammie Noob, and today, something kind of fun. We're actually going to talk about what it's going to feel like the very first time you get on your motorcycle. This is something that a lot of people are actually really nervous about when they first get their bike. They've done the MSF course, they want to go out and ride, but they're a little bit nervous to get out on the road where all these cars are hauling ass past them, and they're a little bit nervous to get on the throttle. And today I'm going to talk to you about how it feels and how to get over some of those hurdles that you might have, those mental roadblocks in your brain that are keeping you from maybe going out and having all the fun that you possibly could on your motorcycle. But today we are out here with the lovely R7, which has a exhaust so loud that I might call it a war crime. Here, you want to take a listen? Yeah, that's loud. It's on, that's for sure. This bike is a ton of fun, especially with this exhaust on here. It makes me feel like a freaking squid. It's about as loud as the FTR is, which is crazy because it's half the displacement. This is a fun bike, and if you want to win it, click the links down in the description below. But before we get out on the road, I need to take a second and talk to you real quick about Cardo.
Okay folks, if you've been around here for a while, you already know the good word about Cardo, but for those of you who are first timers, let me take you to school. Cardo is the OG motorcycle comm system with best in class range, battery life, and they're also packing JBL speakers so you can get yourself some high quality music while you ride. But if you're thinking that I don't need a bunch of that communication stuff, I've got no friends, well, that's kinda sad, but Cardo's got a bunch of different systems with a range of features and prices to make sure that you get everything you need and nothing you don't. I use my Cardo every time I ride, and I've been riding with one since before I joined the Yammie Noob team. Click that link down below and check out all the different systems Cardo has to offer. You'll be supporting the channel and improving your riding experience at the same time.
Okay, with that out of the way, let me walk you through what it's going to feel like the first time you get out on the road. The first time you go out on the road, I'm not going to lie to you, it's going to scare you. Because it scared me, it scared my girlfriend, it scared a couple of my buddies who started riding. It's nerve-wracking because throughout your practicing and the MSF course and stuff, you've been doing stuff like this in a parking lot, you know? You've been in first gear, you've been cruising a little bit, maybe you got up to like 15, 20, maybe 30 miles an hour. You know, let's see here. You can, in a little run like this up to the stop sign, go up, get to second gear, and then stop. That's the kind of thing that you've been doing. But now you're thinking, okay, I'm licensed, I'm good to go. Let's go get out on the street. And then you're gonna pull yourself out to an intersection like this. Cars are gonna be flying past you at 40 miles an hour. And you're like, oh my god, this is horrifying. I feel like I'm about to die. And I'm not gonna lie, I had that issue myself. I first started out, I lived on the south side of Austin, on a pretty popular road. Popular in the sense that a lot of people live there, it's populated. And man, pulling out on that road for the first time was scary because people were flying past me, and you know, I was having to manage the turn signals, and I was having to apply brake and, you know, switch gears and do all of this stuff all at once. And to be honest, it was a little overwhelming because there's so much stuff that you haven't committed to muscle memory yet that you really can't unless you go have the experience on the bike. You just can't do it. So there's really no way to get around it other than just diving in, and that just takes some bravery. I'm not gonna lie, you need to be able to dive in and be like, yeah, I'm confident enough that I can, you know, at least go tool around my neighborhood. And I strongly suggest that when you're first getting out, obviously take your motorcycle to a parking lot and play around with it so that you understand how your bike handles. But another thing you ought to do is go straight to you just go around the block, you know? Don't go to a twisty road, don't get on the highway, just go around your block and then turn around and go around it the other way. You take 4 left turns, 4 right turns, and then maybe you do a figure 8 around the next block. So left, right, right, left, right. Just do figure 8s through your neighborhood. Practice going up and down in gears. Practice applying the throttle nice and steady. Practice looking through turns and get used to how your bike handles on the road. And you can't really do that out here on the highway. You know, you might think, okay, I'm gonna go practice riding, I want to go do it the places where I'm gonna do it. Most of the time you're actually just kind of on the street. You're not doing big highway miles like this all the time. So spend a good afternoon, maybe even a couple of days, just tooling around in your neighborhood. And as you get more comfortable with how your bike handles, specifically your bike, because it's going to handle, your bike is going to be, unless you bought the same thing from the MSF course, it's going to handle differently. All these little motorcycles, yeah, they're very similar, but they handle very differently, you know? Even an R3 and a Ninja 400 feel different. There are differences between those two motorcycles. They're minute, for sure. It's not like, you know, R7 and R3, but there are differences that even if you've learned on one, you're going to want to get familiar with your motorcycle. Once you do that, you need to go out and actually experience a main road in your town, not just like your neighborhood road, but one that's got, you know, stoplights and traffic and maybe a higher speed. And don't be afraid to just sit in the right-hand lane over there and just cruise. You know, maybe you're going 5 miles an hour below the speed limit. You might get honked at, but it's better to do that and get familiar with your motorcycle than just go hell for leather and get into a situation where you're feeling uncomfortable. That guy gave me a heads up or a thumbs up for the R7. This is a flashy looking bike, I'm not gonna lie. This is the second guy while I've been out today who's given me, you know, some props for riding around on the R7. That's pretty cool. Where was I? Oh yeah, go to your main street of your town. Once you've done that and you're a little bit more comfortable, now it's time for you to go hit a twisty road, which is perfect timing because we are about to get down on Spicewood Springs, which is a fun little twisty road here in Austin. I'm actually going to slow up a little bit while those cars get ahead of me, because the first thing I did when I went out on a twisty road was go into a corner way faster than I thought I could, and I didn't trust the motorcycle. This is another thing that's going to feel really weird to you because you've never done it. You might think, oh, well, I've done the figure 8s in the parking lot at the MSF course, right? So I should be all good. I mean, what's the difference between a figure 8 and a corner out on the street? Well, you know, corners out on the street, they may have descending radiuses. They may be off camber. There's a lot of things that happen out on the street that you're not ready for because you've never experienced them on a motorcycle. So go out, find a road that's like this. This is what I would call an easygoing road. There's nothing complicated about this experience. Go find a road like this and then just do what I'm doing. Just cruise. Obviously, I would keep 2 hands on the handlebars. But just cruise down the road. I'm not going fast here. I'm not, you know, trying to break any speed limits or anything or set any records. I'm just out here cruising. And then when you see stuff like this, where you have the signs that are like, oh, there's a turn, pay attention, go into it a little bit slower than you might think, you know? Just maybe you take it 5 miles an hour under, or maybe 10 miles an hour under. Just so you get the feeling of what going through some of these twisty corners feels like. Because it's really easy to be like, oh, this is a 30-mile-an-hour corner. Cool, I'm gonna take it at 30. And then, as a beginner, not understand how leaning feels. And you're like, oh shit, the bike's gonna fall over. What do? I gotta stand up and jam on the brakes. No, you don't. You can trust your tires. Most bikes out there, unless you're on like a crappy Harley from like the 40s, is going to be able to handle this sort of road. I mean, I can't honestly think of a motorcycle that would be challenged by just cruising down a street. So you need to trust your tires, but you don't have that ability yet because you haven't gone through enough corners. So take it slow when you're out here. Just chill out and enjoy the ride, because you're out here on a motorcycle for the first time and you're having fun. Don't worry, you might be out there thinking you want to get that like corner shot of you like leaning off the bike, you know? No, don't worry about that. Just go through the corner. You're not trying to like, again, you're not setting any lap records out here. You're just cruising. Then, once you're more familiar with how your bike handles, and again, I gotta stress the your bike thing, because it's the bike that you have access to, it's the one you're gonna learn on. You need to know how your bike feels. Then you can start picking up the pace just a little bit. You know, if you were 5 under, maybe try hitting the speed limit. If you're at the speed limit, maybe do like 5 over and see what happens. And again, don't be afraid to cruise through some of these corners at a slower speed. I get lambasted in the comments all the time for going slow through corners. But I don't care, man. I'm just out. I want to make sure that I get home nice and in one piece. Because I'm not out here trying to be the fast boy. But I can still have fun from time to time. And again, you don't need to worry about technique or anything like that. Just go through the corners, man. One thing I will give this little R7, it sucks everywhere in my opinion, but in a twisty road, God, it's awesome. I love this thing on a twisty road, especially with the exhaust. It's such a percussive way to ride. Oh, it's so silly. Alrighty folks, the last thing I wanted to talk about today is getting on the highway, because as much as we don't love to admit it, not everything in our riding experience is twisty roads. Sometimes you just have to get on the highway, slab it out to where you're going, and slab it back. It's not a lot of fun, but you gotta do it. But I think this is the thing that scares beginners the most, is actually getting up to speed on the highway. And one thing that I always tell people to do if they're nervous about getting on the highway is doing this. Get into the merge lane, get up to highway speed, shift through a couple of gears, find yourself that spot where you might like to merge in, and be like, okay, I feel like I could do this, but I'm still not feeling quite comfortable with it. Then just get right back off the highway and do it all over again. You don't have to get on the highway if you get on a merge lane like this. You can just get right back off and just work yourself up to highway speed until you feel comfortable. When you're starting out, if you feel uncomfortable doing something, don't do it, man. It's not worth taking the risk. Just go out and chill, take it slow. I know I've said it a handful of times, but really take it slow. Motorcycling is one of those things that you'll have for the rest of your life if you do it right. And then once you're feeling comfortable getting up to highway speed, the irony here being that we're now getting into traffic because this is Austin, go start working your way across the highway. You know, let's see here. I'm going to get left so I can get around all this mayhem. And then I'm going to get further left so I get around this Jeep with the Punisher logo. There we go. And just start working your way through the lanes. Go kind of back and forth. Get yourself used to having cars around you moving at speed. You know, like I'm just going to move over here, be next to this dude, and just have cars moving around me to really get used to that. One thing that still kind of gets me every now and again is if I'm cruising in the middle lane here, I might have somebody in a Mustang that's like just straight piped bust past me in the left-hand lane, and suddenly I'm hit by this wall of sound and I'm like, oh god damn, you know, I get surprised. That's gonna happen to you. Don't worry. Don't get scared. Don't jam on the brakes. Don't tense up. Just hear the sound and then, you know, take a deep breath and let it go. Because once you're on the highway, you can't really stop until you get off. You can't really slow down. You have to be going at highway speed. So you just gotta stick with it. And that's why I say use the on and off ramps to get used to having cars moving around you. And again, maybe you're like extra super nervous and you still want to be on the highway experiencing having cars around you. Get in the left lane. All the way in the left lane. Again, people might be angry at me for suggesting that you should cruise in the left, and normally I hate it when people cruise in the left. It's not what it's for. It's the passing lane. But you can control how many cars are around you, you know? You don't have to worry about cars being over here. They're just going to be over there and behind you. So you can really focus on what's happening in front of you and paying attention to keeping your speed up and feeling the wind hitting you in the chest. That's something that's going to take you by surprise too. You're going to be out here and the wind is going to hit you when you're over a bridge. And like, whoa, I have to like, the bike might lurch underneath you and stuff. You just got to let it go. You got to let the bike do the thing. You can't just clamp down on your motorcycle and tell it not to do anything. That's just going to lead to a whole bunch of bad stuff. So let's start wrapping up our thoughts before this video gets too terribly long on us. The first time you get on your motorcycle and you're out on the road, it will probably scare you, and that is totally fine. It's totally fine to get out there and realize, wow, a lot of stuff is happening, and you're probably not going to feel super duper comfortable. You really need to just go out and experience riding around on your bike in your neighborhood at slow speeds, getting used to shifting, getting used to being around cars and following the traffic laws, because you don't do that in a parking lot. Then don't go straight and get on the highway or go and chuck your bike down a twisty road. Go out and experience the main drag of your town, some bigger streets with stoplights where more cars are around you. Then once you're feeling comfortable with that, you know how your bike likes to ride, you know how it feels, then take it to a twisty road and take it slow, man. The first time you're cruising through that twisty road, take it nice and slow. Slowly build up the speed. And remember, there is no prize at the end of a twisty road. You go fast down it, chances are the only prize you'll get is a speeding ticket. Then lastly, when you're working your way up to getting on the highway, if you're not comfortable being on around all these cars, just get in the on-ramp and then get right off again. On-ramp, off again, until you're comfortable having cars moving at speed around you. And if you're still a little bit nervous, get over into the left lane and just cruise for a minute. Texas exit, whee! Don't do what I just did. That's a no-no. But hopefully this video has helped you get over the nerves of getting out on your motorcycle for the very first time, because again, I gotta remind you, this shit scared me when I first got out, and I'm like ride motorcycles for a living now. I was terrified getting out on the road. The first time I went through a corner, I thought I was gonna crash my motorcycle. And like I said earlier, motorcycling is gonna be one of those things that if you do it right, you'll have it for the rest of your life. So there's no hurry to get going as quickly as you possibly can. There's no point. Just chill, enjoy it. These first few times on your motorcycle, they might be scary, but they're gonna be memories you're gonna look back on fondly for the rest of your life. Now, with all that being said, I'm gonna wrap things up here. Big shout out to Cardo for sponsoring this video. Remember, click the links down below, get yourself a Cardo, get the best comm system in the game. I love having mine. I'm actually listening to music right now as we speak, because I'm not just gonna sit and listen to this exhaust drone on and on. But I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Hey you! Yeah! Click the Yammie Noob video right over there. You should do it. Click that video. Keep watching. Some good stuff. You should really check it out. Hey! Look over there! Go click the video! Look, go click it! Click it right now, do it! Do it! Click that video right now, do it! Do it! Do it!